Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my review on the new Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue foundation, as well as their blending sponge that they released with this foundation. And I also included a demo in this video because I actually showed you guys me getting ready for today for my outing, and so I just showed you guys the products that I used with this foundation, and it's kind of turned into like a little wear test as well, because this is what my face is looking like after being out all day. So before I get into how I feel about this foundation, I'm going to show you guys the demo. So to prep my skin for this foundation, I'm first going to go in with the e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist, and then I'm going to use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and I'm just going to smooth that all over my face. So I sprayed my face first, and then I let it dry, and then I went right in with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer because I just wanted my pores to be nice and hidden with this foundation. And then I'm going to be taking the shade 131, and I'm going to take 2 pumps of that on the back of my hand, which honestly 2 pumps was a lot because this foundation is definitely medium buildable coverage, so you don't need a whole lot of it. But I took 2 pumps, and then I used the sponge to go ahead and blend it out all over my face, and it was flawless. You guys can see that this is a really good color match for me. It just looked really good on the skin. So breathable, so lightweight. It looked really nice. So I'm just showing y'all a close-up of what it looks like after I blended it all out. And then I went ahead and did my full face. I finished up the rest of my face, and now I'm going to set all of my hard work with the Too Faced Peach Perfect Matte Setting Spray, and I'm gonna drown my face in this. And that's basically it, what I used to prep my skin, and then what I finished off my skin with. So like I said, you guys, this is how my face looks at the end of today. I started doing my makeup at like around 8:30, and it's currently 4:19. So it's been about 8 hours, and I have not touched my face at all. So all this glow and dew that you see is just from today. It was super humid outside today. It was super hot. It was 103 degrees outside today, and the humidity was up there like it always is here in Georgia. So I'm just going to be taking some tissue, and I'm just going to blot in the areas where I'm shiny. And this is what that tissue paper looks like. So that is not a whole lot of foundation, and then this is what my face is looking like. So if I wanted to get more longevity out of my makeup right now, I would go ahead and set my entire face with a loose powder, and then I would spray my setting spray on it again. But I'm okay with the way that it looks now, and I don't need it to be like super duper matte because I'm not going anywhere else today. But let's talk about the little sponge first. So this, I did not expect for this sponge to be as good as it is. This sponge is super nice and super spongy. As you guys can see, I used it for my foundation, I used it for my concealer, as well as my setting powder for my face. And yeah, this sponge just really surprised me. It really wowed me. It's softer than I thought. It's just as soft as my e.l.f. Total face sponge, and you guys know that this is like my absolute favorite sponge. Hello, like this is my favorite sponge right now. But this one is just as good. It is more expensive, obviously. This one is $15 and the e.l.f. sponge is $3. But this one is so soft and just spongy and squishy, and it applies my makeup like a dream. It blends it out. This flat side is big enough for me to pounce foundation into my skin, and then this side is good for getting right up in the inner corner of the eyes. The only negative thing I have to say about this sponge, and that could just be my sponge or that could just be me being picky, is I feel like the tip is just a little bit thin and flimsy. Like I wish the tip of it was more like the e.l.f. one. I don't know if you guys are gonna notice, but this tip isn't super thin and sharp like how this one is. Like, I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to tell the difference, but this one just comes to like a super sharp point, and it's a little bit flimsy, whereas this one is like a little bit more rounded. And so when it comes to me getting right in the corner of my eye, I feel like it bends a little bit when I'm like pressing it in, and it's not that big of a deal. Like, I still get my concealer up into the inner corner of my eyes where I need it to be. Like I said, that could just be me being nitpicky, but and that's the only negative thing I have to say about this sponge. But other than that, I really like it. So moving on to the foundation. So this foundation is $36 and does come in 42 shades, which is pretty good. I feel like that covers like a really wide spectrum of skin tones. I feel like 42 shades is really good to cover a wide variety of skin tones, and a lot of people will be able to find their shade in this foundation. And $36 is not bad. It's more on like the mid-range when it comes to foundation, because I believe the Too Faced Born This Way foundation is around the same price. So I feel like it's very mid-range for this foundation. If you guys missed it in the demo, I am in the shade Dark 131, and how I picked this shade was I looked at their shade chart, and it said if you wore, I believe it was the Too Faced Born This Way in Chai and Fenty 420, then you wear this shade in the Meet Your Hue foundation. And I don't actually own the Fenty 420, but that was the shade that I was matched to at Sephora, so I just already knew. And then the Too Faced Born This Way Chai, that's my shade, so I just knew that this was going to work for me, and I feel like it is a great color match. I feel like it would work for summer and winter for me, especially when I do like all of my highlighting and bronzing and everything. I just feel like it's a perfect color for me, so I'm happy with the shade that I picked. This foundation claims to be a lightweight foundation, and I do feel like it feels very lightweight on the skin. Like, I don't have anything on. I don't have an issue with like touching my face during the day, because it just really feels like I don't have foundation on my skin. So it's definitely like breathable and movable with my face. And then this foundation claims to be a natural matte finish, and I definitely feel like it is a natural matte finish. I actually now prefer more natural matte finish foundations, just because you can manipulate them to be what you want them to be. They can be super matte if you use a super mattifying primer underneath, or they can be a natural finish if you just use like maybe a pore filling primer or like a regular primer. And then you can make them obviously more dewy or luminous if you add some drops into them, or if you use a luminous primer or anything like that. So I just like the more natural finish foundations because they just look better. They look like skin, they look more natural, and then you can tailor them to your needs by using different primers underneath. And then this foundation also claims to have a blurring effect on the skin, and that is one of the biggest factors in why I really like this foundation, because I do feel like it actually blurs my skin. The first time I wore this foundation, I just used some random primers that I have that I'm trying to use up. Like, I used my e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist, and then I used this little NYX Tea Tree Serum Primer, which honestly, this primer is nice, but I don't feel like it does a whole lot for my skin. And I didn't set my face with powder, and I felt like this foundation just really made my skin look flawless, and it really filled in my pores and made my pores look good. And even today, even though I did use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, I just still feel like my face looks flawless with this foundation on. So I really do feel like it has a blurring effect, and it just makes your skin look natural and like skin, but a better flawless version of it. But yeah, you guys, that's it. That's all I have to say. I really like this foundation. I really like the way that it held up on my skin. All I had to do was just blot away the oil, and I feel like it went back to looking flawless. You can still see my bronzer, you can still see my blush, my highlight, everything. I just like blotted away that oil, and my face is back to sitting. So I really like this foundation. I think it would be good for every day as well as going out. I could have did more oil controlling measures, because y'all know I just did my oily skin tips and tricks video, so I could have did more to control the oil with this foundation. Like, I didn't set my entire face. I didn't use my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop primer. I didn't use my e.l.f. oil blotting spray. Like, I didn't do any of that today. I just used a regular foundation. A regular primer. It wasn't even an oil controlling primer, and I just went with it because I just wanted to wear this foundation and get a real feel for it without doing all of the extra. But I highly recommend it. I do really like it. I have worn it on other days to work and everything, and I just feel like it wears really nicely on the skin. I feel like I don't look too made up, and my skin really does look flawless. So yeah, this is definitely a win. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you are going to pick up this foundation, or if you've already tried it. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you are new, hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification so that you are notified every single time that I upload a video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace.